Alright, hey, what's up, guys? If you don't know me, I'm Macroadix, former D4 mid lane free coach. Basically taking a break from that as I'm now trying to work my way back into Diamond. Hadn't been there in a while, mainly because I was a Victor one trick, like a lot of us, and then he got nerfed so inevitably hard that it's just impossible to climb now, or quote unquote supposedly impossible to climb. But I often test Victor builds like pretty frequently just to make sure that there's nothing still in meta that's going to be impacted. Nothing's changed. There's no build that's like really suitable for him because end of last season, peak D4, playing in D2 MMR games, and playing pretty well with Victor, and then just the new nerfs. It's just absolutely insane how difficult it is to actually win with Victor now. Have a pretty low win rate in gold, or did before I tried testing out this new build, and now I have a what is this? 73% win rate after 73 games with Victor. It feels really clean. It feels really comfortable. It's kind of a slow start. You noticed in the build we have the tier, and what we're basically doing is we know that Victor has pretty strong early levels, but that he's basically just suffers until he's at like a full rod build plus like boots and Lichbane components. Until then, he's basically not a champion after like level 3. There is some counterplay in some matchups where he does foster, but as a generality, he falls behind. And then you also have the problem of late game. Not only does he not deal enough damage, but he also isn't able to actually keep up with the power spikes of other mages. And so he just basically has one strong mid-game spike. And these games have been popping off on. I'm really seeing a really strong late-game spike on top of my mid-game spike. So what I've done basically is put myself at level 15. This represents more or less the 25-minute mark, or a game that I was recently in where I wasn't really too far ahead, but I wasn't really behind. I think I went like 1-0-4 in lane with just decent CS. And once you back and get the tier, you're like, oh, but Victor needs the first rod upgrade, and he needs to put points in E to be able to CS the wave. First of all, if you can't CS your wave with just your champion and basic attacks with no items alone, you've already like identified a problem, and you need to go back and fix that. This is something that I struggle with on the past. You need to do like 3 practice tools and or customs, and you're good to go. But basically, as soon as you get tier, we're putting points in queue. So my path order for abilities is Q, E, Q, W. Q, ult, and then just maxing out Q. And then once you get, I want to say 5 points in Q, right? Because you really want the 5th point in Q. And a lot of people, if you actually run the numbers on this, it'll look deceptive at first, and you might think that like I don't actually need the 5th point in Q, and I can start prioritizing that for my E, so that when I build into my next rod buy, I'm actually going to be able to clear waves. And this is kind of deceptive in the fact that with 40% CDR on Victor, your Q is on a perma cooldown. Here I've actually taking the Cosmic Insight rune inside the Masteries and Biscuits just to give me a little more mana. I'm also taking Mana Flow Band. This is the Airy, but I regularly run this against squishier comps with Electrocute and then Sorcery and Secondary, and then Mana Flow, and then Absolute Focus, because we're going to stay at such high health for so long that it's much more advantageous to just basically run it over Celerity. Or at least in my opinion, it just feels more clean. That's not necessarily saying that I've run the numbers on it. So just a quick demonstration. This is around about a 500 health shield at, let's say this is anywhere between the 24 and 26 minute mark, or should be in the game, granted that you're not too far ahead, too far behind. And this shield is, well, hang on, let me make sure that I turn off all the in-game add-ons. This shield is on a perma shield. It's a perma shield. It's basically permanently off cooldown, because as soon as like I don't have auto refresh cooldowns or energy on in the practice tool. This is literally just the base Victor with this amount of CDR at this point in the game. You already have 40% because you have the Seraphs, because you have the Lucids, and because you have the Lichbane. And so Q is literally never down. You always have a 500 health shield coming up at 24 to 26 minutes in the game. That's insane. But actually running more numbers, you said Victor's bad late game. Let's get into actually what this is doing. because this number kind of gets insane. This gets like a little crazy even for me. I'm not sure like how this is 100% fair, to be completely honest. Trying to think what the last item I went was. I think it was a decap. Yeah. Because it's going to give you the most bang for your buck that I found. Again, this isn't me running, crunch number test on every single item in the game. Like, maybe GLP will give you more, but I don't necessarily, value that over the damage from Death Hat, because this build does need, some form of damage inside of its kit. Okay, so this is absolutely maximum build. We'll go back to mid lane. We can see here in our advanced stats that we're running 33% additional AP with our absolute focus. Our Cosmic Insight has the extra 5% CDR, and so we're at 45% cooldown. This Viktor shield, guys, if you're not running a 45% cooldown, it's not that big of a deal because it's basically just going to overlap. You have a 2.4 second cooldown and a 2.5 second ability if you run without Cosmic Insight and the 45% CDR. But if you're running it with the Cosmic Insight and the 45% CDR, there is no hesitation, because Viktor's cast time on his Q takes like 0.13 something seconds if you animation cancel the Q. That's by obviously queuing and stepping to the side and autoing, as opposed to just queuing and autoing. And this is really the point that I'm trying to drive home to you guys right now, is look at the magnitude of the shield. And this is insane, right? And we're going to bump this up to level 18. That way our mana pool is max. This shield is 1k. I have a 1k shield right now. This 1k shield is permanent. This is crazy, okay? So a 1k shield on top of Seraphs, on top of barriers. I have a almost 2 point something k shield. Now, obviously, I've sold boots for Spellbinder here, which is pretty standard later in the game. If I were to pop all those at max stacks, let me just charge it up here and then actually see what that would look like, because that is something that I haven't tested yet. It shouldn't take too long. This build just feels super clean. It's the shield is always there. The only vulnerability that I've really assessed or seen that this build might have is the fact that if you get CC'd, if you get snared, there is some implication of you dying before you can get a shield up. I mean, that is legitimately the only way that an enemy team can kill you. They have to keep you locked down so well for so long that you actually can't cast Q, Barrier, or Seraphs. I mean, this build literally just makes you unkillable. As we see in the stats, I have 1220 AP raw off of this build right now. Alright, so if I were to pop Q with Spellbinder at 100, just out of curiosity, let's see what it gives us. Okay, so not that much of an increase. We're still seeing about 1,000. But the damage spike, obviously you're going to hit, 1,320 damage. That's insane for a mid lane mage that's as versatile, as slippery, as underknown, as underrated as Viktor is. I don't know. You guys can leave comments down in the section below. I think personally with this build, along with the Iceborne Gauntlet build, if you're against a full AD comp, and I might actually make a video incorporating an Iceborne Gauntlet build in lieu of the Lichbane later on, if I test it out and see that feels nice, or if you guys want something different, just let me know. But I think with this build, he definitely has some implication to be able to come back in the lane. Like I say, you're just starting actual tier components because Viktor's so good early game, level 3. He has a lot of damage. He has a lot of shield from his kit. He's not going to get out traded in lane. You literally just go out to lane with Mana Crystal and Fairy Charm, and you just get 350 and back. And that's it. That's your whole end state, and then you start building into everything else. So let me know what you guys think. If you'd like to see more videos like this, leave some comments down in the section below. But yeah, really appreciate it. Thanks.